You know who it is, the horror flick, Digger Dish, Super Six, Big Mitch. And I'm kicking in doors with those three O's. And I'm bringing 28 one-on-ones because we Vegas Sons, it's the Chronicles. And you in the Meadowlands. Yeah, you in the Meadows, man. And you already know what made me. 530. What that mean? Oh, that boy's a desert, baby. Oh, you already know. Hubba dub scrub, 22-inch gold Dana things and big bolo yang. I can never be on my claims, man. Welcome to Vegas Chronicles with the whole Super Six, Mr. Ditch Big Mitch. And today, like any other day, y'all know what we do. We kick action with factuals with no additives and no preservatives, just raw and uncut. Like what? Like summer sausages and crackers. You already know. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting my platform, man. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with your boy. You know, it ain't big, but it's comfortable. You know? Let's jump right off into it. Look, man, people funny. They people interesting. But for some reason, people find it hard to believe that there is no definitive tough guy to a tough gang in Vegas. Meaning, people just can't believe the fact that ain't no such thing as the hardest gang or ain't no such thing as the toughest guy in Vegas. And people won't, for some reason, they think since Vegas is, you could say, a majority Crips state, it is. It's more Crips out here than anything, you know. But that don't mean that the Crips are the hardest, man. No disrespect to the Blue Rag, man. But that don't mean nothing. Let me explain something to you about that, man. For you people out here, and it's got to be probably some type of Crips that's feeling this type of way. But let me explain something to you. It's only 4 real big blood gangs in Las Vegas. It's smaller ones, but it's always been a big 4 for the most part, which is the Pyrus, whether Burgundy Square, Madison Terrace, Playboy Bloods, Hollywood Bloods, which is the oldest Bloods, and West Coast Bloods. Those are the 4 biggest and oldest blood gangs in Las Vegas. All right? And all except the hood is centered in the west side. Playboy, West Coast, Paru. They all on the west side. The hood is in the north. Alright? The hood, the oldest blood gang, has always been in the north. And they always been surrounded by Crips. Now, if you look at the Crips in Las Vegas, you have so many different Crip gangs, you know what I mean? From Donna, White Street, ABM, NTG, Hard Time Hustler, you know, Rolling 50, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say 40 Block is Crips, but, you know, they align themselves with the GERSONS, but, you know, just Bonanza Village, Sydney Sioux, you know, 6-0, Delmonico, you know, it's so many different Crip gangs, they outnumber the Bloods. Well, if the Crip gangs was the hardest or the toughest, then why haven't they wiped out the Bloods? Why have the Bloods always been over there? Sherman Gardens, Madison Terrace, West, that's always been there. You see, because there's no such thing. The Bloods, they might not be as deep as the Crips, you know, or they might not be as deep as the GERSONS, but the Bloods has always been strong enough to hold their own, strong enough to put up a fight, strong enough to still be here, you know. So that the Crips being, you know, the hardest, that's not true, man. You know, and as far as the Bloods being the hardest, that's not true. As far as the GERSONS being the hardest, that's not true. Everybody took hits. You know, nobody won in this. The only people that can really say they won is the federal government, because when it was all said and done, they got the last laugh. But when it come to being tough, let me explain something to you, man. And you had legendary fights out here. Some of the most legendary fights you had in Las Vegas, and I should have spoke on it a long time ago, but I don't want to ruffle nobody fellas. But some of the most legendary fights that you had in Las Vegas would be fights like head up fights, Stacy Mackamo versus Master G. That was a fight, you know, a few fights that, you know, everybody talked about. Or Master G versus Hercules, you know, that was a fight that everybody was talking about. So people used to always, you know, fight, man. You know, that's just how it was. You know what I mean? Lil Derek and Money Mun from rolling 60s, 2 of the little shortest dudes, you know, they used to get down a lot. You know, the GERSONS and the Pyrus, they were known for fighting one another a lot. You know, the Playboys and the Pyrus, they were known for fighting one another a lot. The Playboys and the War Babies, they were known for fighting one another a lot. So you have people like Big L from War Babies. You know, he used to get down. Big Clyde from Playboys. They used to get down. You know, you had a bunch of dudes, Mad Meech, Big Meech, them up over there. You know, Baby Huey, Tangy, all them up over there in the suit. They used to get down. But the Bonanza Village, the Baby GQs up over there, they used to get down. People used to get down out here in Vegas, man. Big Cheetah them, Blue Mile over there in Wrigley States, man, they used to get down. Carl Wesley them, you know, down there in the GQs, everybody used to fight because that's what it was about. It was about fighting. So there's no such thing as, you know, someone being the toughest because you win some and you lose some. You know, you might whoop a guy today and he might catch you tomorrow and he might whoop you, he might get you, you know. Stanley Mack from Peru, he done whooped a whole bunch of people. Webbo from Peru, you know, he got hands. You know, Do Dirty from the Gerson got hands. Big Nag from the Gerson is a knockout artist. Dirty Rob, all them dudes up over there, man, got down. Danny McCoy, you know, these cats got down, man. Buzzo from the block. Tiptoes, Myron from the block. Keystone from the block. Hefty. Donnie, rest in peace, from the block. They got down. Stabone from the block. 6-0 Stabone from the block. You know, he used to get down back in the days, you know. And Stabone him is the reason why 6-0 was so strong right there on the block, man. It wasn't because of no pistol play. It wasn't because of none of that. It was because of this right here. Stabone and the 6-0 them, they did it right here against the Gersons. And it was a respect thing. They fought the Gersons every day. And it was right there on 40 block. They didn't get ran on 40 block. They just migrated to Crip City. You see? And that's real history, man. Did nobody run the 60s off 40 block? The Gersons didn't say y'all got to get up out of here. They family. They related. They just migrated to Crip City. You know, that was more befitting for them. You had a neighborhood called Crip City. They rolling 60 Crips. Why wouldn't they be over there? You see? But they didn't get ran off. They got down with the G's every day, but that's what it was about. So to say that the Crips was harder than the Bloods or the Bloods was harder than the Crips, nah, man. Nah, man. Case in point, man, I had this partner, man. His name was Spanky P. Sharon Jernigan. Straight Peru. Little short. He was thick, you know what I mean? And what people didn't understand about Sean, Spank, man, Spank was funny. Spank used to be, he stayed in Mountaineer at this time, you know, he had came back to Elko. And I was in Elko with Spank, you know, back in the mid 80s, you know, but he was going home, you know, and that was right after the incident with him and Tony Hickman. You know, him and Tony Hickman had a fight in Elko, you know, and Spank was getting at everybody, you know what I'm saying? I was just talking to Weeze, shout out to Weeze from the suit, and they was talking about how Spank got at Mad Dog from 6-0 up in Elko. You know what I mean? Spank wasn't no joke. Spanky P, Sean Jernigan wasn't no joke. You know, and I remember he came back to Elko, and me and Money Marv we was in Explore Dorm, and Spank came back up there. You know, Spank was cool, man. You know, he was, you know, me, Spank, Lil Dave, Easy Money. We were the short dudes up there. You know what I mean? And me and Spank was cool. He didn't like me because I was from the Gerson, but he used to always tell me, you know, you cool. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? He didn't like my homeboys or nothing like that. But we used to kick it, man. Me and Spank used to crumb on each other. You know, we was both dark-skinned. And we used to like play football together and wrestle around together. But I had a homeboy named Marlo Thomas. Spank couldn't stand Marlo Thomas. You know, Marlo Thomas was a K9. And he rested in peace, unfortunately, man. But Spank and Marlo Thomas just kept bumping heads. You know, Marlo Thomas, you know, he had the heart of a lion. He win, lose, or draw, Ice Dog go get down. You know what I'm saying? That was his nickname, Ice Dog. You know, so Marlo and Spank, you know, they kept bumping heads for whatever reason. You know, they kept mean mugging each other. And, you know, when class, a break and we go to our separate class, you know, different classes in Elko, we used to have the bell ring and we'll come out in the hallway and we had a certain amount of time to get to our next class. Well, in the hallways, Marlo and Spank used to always mean mug each other as they walk by each other, or they'll bump into each other and they'll stare at each other, but now one of them would make a move. You know, they was two big, stocky guys. You know, Spank was just a little shorter. So on this particular day, you know, I guess, you know, it just hit the fan. You know, I guess both of them just didn't had it up to here with each other, you know. And I remember when the bell rung and they came out, and you could tell Marlo really wanted to fight him because when Marlo came in the hallway, he was just standing there. And when Spank came in the hallway, Spank looked and seen him. And Spank knew what it is. And Spank walked up to him and said, "What's up, blood?" And him and Marlo just squared off. And they just got to chunking him, man. And it was going back and forth at first. You know, Marlo was a little bit more bigger than Spank. But Spank went up under Marlo and picked him up and slammed him. And that's when, you know, Spank turned the tide and they got down. It was a real hard fight. You know, Spank slammed Marlo, but it went back and forth, you know. And, you know, that was just how it was, you know, up in Elko. We used to just get down, you know. And, you know, even after that, me and Spank was cool, you know. And I remember we both got out. I ran into him a couple times, you know what I mean? And, you know, it was always love. Spank always hugged me, man, told me to get up out these streets, or he'll tell me to have money. You know what I mean? Have money. You know what I mean? That was my partner, man. And the last time I ran into Spank, it was me and Brett. And he had this, this when we was messing with Jim Brown in the American program. And Brett used to have this white Astro van. And he had an office right there in Nucleus Plaza. And one day, me and Brett came out of his office, and we was going to Big 8. And Spanky P was out there, you know what I mean? And he was out there with two more other dudes, man. And they was green down like I had on a bunch of green, and they was green down too. You know, so we embraced, and he looked at me. He was like, "Oh, there go the little maniac." You know what I mean? And that's what he called me, you know, and we got the hug. And that was my partner, man. And him and Brad got to chopping it up, you know what I mean? And they was talking about how they was knocking out white boys at camp and prison and all that old stuff, you know, so... And me and the other Pirus, we was admiring each other's green. You know what I mean? I was like, "That's a nice hat." They was like, "Them some nice shoes," you know. And I was like, that was weird, you know what I mean? Because we was greened up, you know. But anyway, you know, after that, you know, like probably a year or two after that, I get caught up in the case, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, and then I hear Spank got into it with Adonis Street, you know, and one thing led to another. To make a long story short, my partner was unalived, you know what I mean? And that really hurt me bad, man. I was already in jail for something I did, but Spank was unalived right after that, you know, and I was like, oh my God, man. And it was like, it was simultaneously, you know what I mean? And Spank was a good brother, man. But, you know, Spank, for the most part, man, he did it this way. And when Spank left this earth, Spank was doing it this way. You see, and I'm not finna get in nobody's business. I'm not finna put nothing out there, but I'm gonna tell you something right here. They couldn't handle that boy from here. They couldn't handle Spank from here. Spanky P did it like this here. Spanky Boo did it like this here, man, and they couldn't handle that boy like that. You know what I mean? And that's why them Bloods, that's why I say, you know, them Bloods is still there for a reason, because them Bloods, they can do it like this here, or they can do it how you want to do. You know? But when it come to right here, we used to fight the Bloods all the time, especially the West Side Bloods, and the GQs can attest to the hood. The hood is still down there for a reason. Ain't nobody ever ran them off. You know, the hood down there for a reason, because they had reputable members are down there, man. The Tatums, the Lockharts and all them, Ice Doctor, all them dudes down there, man. They ain't no joke, man. You know what I mean? And so it's no such thing as who's the toughest and who's the hardest, you know. And and as far as, you know, people having hands out here, man, let me explain something to you, man. The females in Las Vegas, I'm gonna keep it so 100 with you. The females in Las Vegas of my era, they fight harder than the dudes of this era. The females of my era, and I'm not disrespecting the youth or nothing like that, but the females of my era, the girls. The Baby Blues and the Tanya Washingtons and the Girl Bugs and the Tracy's and the Duckies and the Elmer Fudds and all them and the Desirees and the Romanettas and the Infrareds and the 380s, all them, the Big Vannas, the Lisa and Leslies, the Little Halisas, the Little Rabs and the Dorises, all them up over there, the Colettas, all them. They fought hard, the DKs from 6-0s, the Ayanas and the Briannas. You know, the Macklemore sisters up out of there, Michelle and them up out of Delmonico. Come on, man. In CRIPS City, you had Soul Media, the Slacks, and all them up over there in CRIPS City, man. Come on, man. Is y'all serious? The females of my era fought harder than the dudes of this era, because the dudes of this era, they can't do nothing but this right here. The females of my era, the Tony girls, the Dorothy Anns and all them, man, they got down, man. The big Mercedes and all them. The Big Trinas, the 40 Block Fees, the Tracys. Come on, man. Tracy Burrell, them, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. Tyrone giving Sister Teresa them up over there in Vegas Heights. Mun's sister Shannon them up over there in Vegas Heights, man. Them girls fought hard. Jamie up over them out the Gerson, man. Come on now. My little cousin Quinda and Quita them. Boy, you would get drugged. Hey, look. The females of my era fought harder, man. But when I sit back and I think about it, man, what did he get us, man? All those hard dudes, man. Those knockout artists, man, they ain't gonna never be They ain't gonna never be another Stacey McElmore. It would never be another Big E Dub. These dudes was knockout artists, man. It'll never be another Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea was quiet with it, but Sweet Pea had hands. It'll never be another Melly Mel, man. What is y'all talking about, man? These legends, it'll never be another Sheepdog. That's over with, man. You know, they not coming out like that no more, man. So we have to teach our children to be smarter, because the days of being tough, that's over with, because people will end you, man, when they scared of you. So we have to teach our children not to be tough, because when you tough, you scare people. And the worst thing you want to do is scare a person. The most dangerous person in this world is a scared person. So you don't want to scare nobody, man. So you have to teach your children to be smart now. You see what I'm saying? That's how they have to move now, because this is the society we live in. Everybody is shoot 'em up, bang, bang now. You know, you have to teach your children to be smarter. You have to teach your daughters to be aware. Teach your daughters MMA. Teach them how to read people. Teach your sons the same thing, that his mission in life is to be a family man. His mission in life is to protect women, not hurt them. That's what we need to instill in our sons. It's a new day now, man. Gangbanging and played out. And shame on us for letting our little kids up over here in middle class. They got little bad kids running around here, these little Marvin and Martian looking skinny jean wearing, slide wearing little boys up around here trying to be bad, and they need a foot in their behind, man. That's what they need, man. They need to be slapped upside their head, grabbed up, and threw in the house, man. For real. Because they gonna get hurt up out here in these streets trying to play a game they know nothing about. For real. If they want to gangbang, let me explain something to y'all parents out there that feel helpless, like it's nothing you can do to rein your child in. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. It's something you can do. They want to play with guns. They want to gangbang. They want to look and stuff. They want to look for stuff to do. Send them to the military. If they want to be a nuisance, let them go be a nuisance in Iraq. Let them go be a nuisance in Afghanistan. Let them go up over there and fight them. It'll be for the greater good. You see? If our children go be unalived, if our children go be taken from us, man, why let them in the streets? No. Why let them be unalived in the streets? No. No. Send your children to the military. For real. Send them to the military, man. Think about it. At least you'll know they're alive. At least they'll get the proper training. They like to play with guns. The military. Who got more guns than the military? They want to be shoot 'em up, bang, bang. Who do more shoot 'em up, bang, bang than the military? Send them up over there. They got all kind of gadgets and gadgets they can play with, man. Don't never feel helpless as a parent. For real. But it's best your child go to the military than to the penitentiary, man. I'm just keeping it real. And you know, it's a lot of people that don't support my movement. It's a lot of people that don't support what I'm doing, and that's cool, because that's the reason I know what I'm doing is right. You know? But I don't understand this. When I was doing wrong, when I was in the streets and I was shooting people and I was robbing people, all in the name of Gerson Park and all that old stuff, and I was doing that stuff right there, why so many people supported me then? When I was out there really hurting people, shooting people, why was people supporting me then? Why was they rooting for me then? When I was doing all the wrong things, y'all was rooting for me when I was doing all the wrong things. But when I start doing the right things, and you know what I'm doing is right, don't nobody want to support that. Why not? See, that's how God exposed who your true people are. You see, because a true friend want for you what he would want for himself. You see? And I done everything you can basically do when it came to gang banging or basically getting in trouble. What else do they want me to do? But when I was doing that, I had so many people that would support me. Yeah, that's the big homie. Yeah, that's the homie Sheep. The homie Sheep this, the homie Sheep that. Yeah, my name stayed on the front page. But when I started doing good, when I turned my back to that madness, when I reclaimed my individuality, when I started speaking with clarity, when I let God into my life, you see, now it's people, oh, he dry snitching, oh, he doing this, oh, he doing that. You know, you had, I don't even, first of all, certain people would not be even mentioned on my platform. Their name not even worthy to be. But you have people trying to slander my name, but you see how I rose above the fray, because when God for you, who can be against you? You see? And that was right there done to make me go back and revert to the stuff that I used to do. See? That was demons trying to get me and lure me back into the streets. You see? Misery loves company, but no, I'm going to stay the course. You see? And that's what I did, because God know my heart. God know my past, present, and future. You see? And I don't have to clear my name for nobody, because people that know me, they know me, man. That's why I can put my face on the camera. That's why I can open it and be an open book, because I ain't got nothing to hide. Because everything I did, even when I done wrong, everything I did, I represented that. I stood on that. So can't nobody slander my name. And the fact that people have to use my name to even get attention, that shows you who I really am. You know? So if the youth watching this shit, man, I'm going to always bring y'all a message of positivity, which is stay away from gangs, man. Ain't nothing wrong with being by yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with pulling a child for a woman. Ain't nothing wrong with admitting you was wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with listening to your mama, because when she leave this earth, you go miss her. You go miss her. You see, this ain't like no homie dying, no homie passing away, no homie being unalive. This ain't like that. No, when mommy leave, you go feel that. So while she here, cherish that. Don't waste time with your homeboys. If you got children, spend time with them. It'll keep you out of jail. Being with your homeboys, 9 times out of 10, you going to jail. If you lucky. You see? To you youngsters up out here, man, look, man, I know y'all caught up in this. I can't even say it's macho. It's typical. You see, y'all caught up in the same thing we was caught up, but y'all just doing it a little bit different. But I'm going to tell you something, that the results, they're going to be the same. You're going to end up under that grass. You're going to end up in a penitentiary. Listen to your parents if you're blessed to still have them in your life, man. Listen to them. Quit listening to your homeboys. Quit listening to that crowd, man. Get up out that crowd, man. A lot of you youngsters want something better for y'all self, man. And a lot of y'all articulate. I say it all the time. Y'all sharp, man. Y'all just want to be heard, but it's another way of getting your point across, man, other than being with a crowd of people who really ain't going nowhere. See? And to every youngster that don't follow the crowd, and the youngsters that's listening to this, maybe you the change that we need. Maybe you the way for the other youngsters to get up out that madness, because you really don't want to be a part of that. You want something for yourself. So when they see you doing something better, or when they see you going in a different direction, trust and believe, some of them go follow you, man. For real, man. Because if you look around, people ain't nothing but a bunch of trendsetters and trend followers. Trends. That's like curls was a trend. Like Dayton's on a car, that was a trend. Like the rims y'all putting on y'all car now is a trend. You see? Like people all of a sudden being fascinated with motorcycles and being in motorcycle clubs. That's a trend. You see? That's a trend. So be a trendsetter. Let's form a new trend. Calling it going, let's boycott the street. Go back to school. You see? Let's boycott the cemetery. You see? Let God take that over. Let God coordinate that. Let's stop sending ourselves to early graves, man. You see? You know how much these funeral homes making off us? Not off the natural ones, but off the tragedies. You know how much money they making off us? Yeah, prison making a whole bunch. Think about that. When a person, unalive one person is going to the funeral home, the other person is going to jail. That's two birds going with one stone, but they both spinning the wheels. You see? The funeral homes, they getting paid. And then the prison's getting paid for the same incident. Think about it. See? But they don't say nothing they don't sue people like Smith and Wesson, Colt. They don't sue people like Taurus and people like that be making them Winchesters and all. They don't sue people like that. You see? That's who we need to be going after. People like that. How Kalishnikovs, aka AK-47. That's a Kalishnikov. How they come in our neighborhoods. How every neighborhood in the United States of America got Kalishnikovs, AK-47s. No. The new chopper is the Draco, right? How everybody got Dracos? Half of these cats can't even spell Draco. So how they got Draco, let alone know how to load it, know what type of bullet go up in it. But they can't go to school. They can't